Hello everybody, welcome to Great Leveling Gaming. I'm the Great Leveler and today we're checking out the trailer for Ghost of Yōtei. Probably pronouncing that wrong, but it's a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima. And I pronounce it Tsushima because in my trailer reactions for that game, I kept pronouncing it all sorts of different ways and people finally said it's actually pronounced and they spelled it out phonetically. So I don't call it Tsushima, it's Tsushima. So I'm sure that there will be some very generous people commenting on this video, fingers crossed, telling me to pronounce it properly. So I think it's Yōtei, but we shall see. But yes, what? And I couldn't believe it. One of my friends messaged me that this was being announced. I was so excited because Ghost of Tsushima was just such a phenomenal game. It was visually stunning. Had a great story, great characters. The gameplay was fun, and it was just a very well-rounded game for me. It was just amazing. It was just amazing. I absolutely loved it. I feel like there's a lot of games that have huge, massive open world, and I don't think this had a massive open world, but it was big enough so that you had the variety of locations. From the wintry ones at the north to your windswept with all the beautiful forests and whatnot to the south. Just so beautiful, but it didn't feel like it was a lot of empty space. It felt like it was all well occupied, but never tedious. Some games feel like I said, they just look how big our map is. Yeah, and there's nothing interesting to do. Ghost of Tsushima for me was just a phenomenal game. Just through and through, absolutely phenomenal. And I always wanted a sequel, but I never actually thought we would get one because it was just such a well-rounded story. You had that DLC as well, which we didn't bring to the channel because by the time I got around to playing it, I just wanted to get on with the game. And I'm glad I didn't, but it was just through and through, just a great game. So we're going to do this trailer reaction because I could talk about this game forever. Maybe slight exaggeration, but forever. So let's do this trailer reaction. We'll talk a little bit more about it afterwards. But what are we expecting? Well, I have no idea. The thumbnail, I can see what looks to me Mount Fuji. So it definitely sounds like we're on the mainland. So is Yōtei Providence possibly in Japan? I don't know. It's not one I'm familiar with, but I'm not exactly, up on my geography of Japan. I know a few places, but Yōtei is not one I recognise. Anyway, there's lots to talk about, but I'm expecting to see some more beautiful locations. And one thing I'm really interested in seeing is just how good this one looks, because I mean, the original one looks spectacular on the PlayStation 4. So I'd be really interested to see what we get now. Anyway, let's crack on, let's crack on. Oh, so excited. So this is a mix of gameplay and in-game cinematics. That's always good. That was almost photorealistic, so I like that.
We are beyond the edge of Japan.
Okay, so where the hell are you if you're beyond the edge? Oh, look at those environments.
People come north to disappear.
Oh no, it's Mount Yōtei. Oh, well, I suppose that makes sense for the name, Mount Yōtei. It looks very much like, although there's 3 holy mountains, I should have probably worn my appropriate t-shirt.
Hunting.
Interesting. Oh, wow.
And now, every Ronin here is after you. Still think you're the hunter?
Is that? Ah, there we go. That's got to be Jin. Yeah. Oh. Is that? That's not Jin. I think that looked like a woman. Oh my god, that was so good. Oh wow. Oh, that's cool. It's actually going to be our pet. Well, I caught that. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, oh. What? That looks so freaking good. Okay, so I was rambling a little bit at the beginning, and I'm kind of annoyed because when I started watching the trailer, I remembered all the things I wanted to say at the beginning, and then I didn't because I started rambling. And that was like the third time I'd done the intro, and every time I'd rambled more and never touched on things I did want to talk about. So one of the things, there's so much to talk about. So this is going to be a bit of a longer trailer reaction, but I feel like there's so much to talk about. Let's just you know what I love about doing these reactions is it's just my genuine reaction. There's nothing scripted about it. Literally, as the thoughts pop into my head, I pass them on to you. And so it's a little bit rambly at times, but I feel that that's, you know, if people are liking these trailer reactions, that's what they're here for, to see my genuine fanboyish kind of reaction. So with that being said, let's talk a little bit about that trailer, other than the fact that it looked beautiful. So I wanted to talk about one of the things I talked about in my previous attempts at doing an intro was that I really liked how the gameplay in the first game was kept fresh, despite the fact that your character only has one primary weapon. Yes, you have the bows and arrows, the two different types, and the blow darts, and I feel like there was one other weapon, but I'm really honestly just pulling a blank. But I felt like they did really a good job, considering you had just mainly the sword. So any combat you entered, you were using the sword and maybe a smoke bomb here and there. My only pet hate from the first game was that when you got the Ghost outfit, which I'm not going to bother getting the Funko Pop of him out there in the Ghost outfit, but you had the normal katana and his little smaller sword, which name I can't remember, but then he had another one up here, and he never once used that one. And it's like, why is it there then? But that was my only pet hate. Anyway, one of the things I said that I would have liked to see in this trailer, and I forgot to totally mention at the beginning, was using both swords simultaneously. Now, it's not a very common practice in samurai, but it was made famous by, oh no, I knew his name, and as soon as I started talking about it, I forget what it was. Miyamoto Musaki, I think that's right. Miyamoto Musaki, I'm sure that's correct. I'll put it up on screen if I'm wrong, but of course I'm going to be right. Anyway, one of the things he was renowned for was using both swords simultaneously, which is difficult to do, but it was a big thing, and I thought that would be a really interesting thing to do with the second game. But then at the same time, I understand that that might not be possible as well, because Ghost of Tsushima takes a lot of liberties with Japanese history, because the time in which the Mongol invasion happened, the samurai weren't really a thing like how we know them in modern culture. They were primarily archers, not swordsmen. So it kind of like took the famous part of what we know of the samurai and moved it back a few hundred years to fit in with the plot. So, you know, Jin would not be familiar with Miyamoto. But at the same time, I thought, well, if they're taking liberties anyway, that would be a fun thing to kind of throw into it. And then to see the character dual wielding like that. So that straight away, that was something really interesting. And there was a variety of weapons. Now, I hope they don't go too far with it, because that's one of the things I did like about it, was the simplicity to it. I'm not saying I want an easy game. I'm not saying I want a boring, 3-button combo over and over and over again. But I liked that your character felt like a swordsman, a man who lived by the sword, who'd honed his skills in. And you had the different stances with the sword, but you'd honed your skills with the sword, and therefore that was your primary attack. And you had throwing knives, that was it. You had to throw kunai. You had the kunai that you throw at people. So I don't want them to have a massive arsenal. For me, that kind of takes away from the heart of it. But the few weapons I saw there felt like they would be fun. I kind of know what I mean by that, but I don't know if I get my point across. But if you agree, let me know by hitting that like button. But anyway, so also, personally, I loved Jin Sakai. I loved his story. And one of the things I said at the beginning was that I didn't think he'd have a sequel, because I didn't really know where they were going to go with it. Because it's not like Jin's character fought off the entire Mongol invasion. I know, again, they're taking liberties with the history, but I felt like Jin's story had kind of a good conclusion to it. I don't feel like it warranted much more than what we got. So seeing a new character is really interesting, really fun. Again, doesn't bother me that it's a female character. If you know my Let's Plays, whenever there's a choice between two characters, I tend to pick the female character because I just find it a little bit more fun. The whole point is, for me, with gaming, is to, play different characters, and, it's fun to play the big, burly bloke, but so many games have that character. It's nice to play the little more agile female characters. And I really like the look of the character, like the possibilities. I mean, the fact that they're carrying around this, I'm going to call it a loot, because I can't remember the proper term for it. I know I like Japanesey stuff, and I still can't think what the term is, so it's a loot. But I'm kind of curious, like, of all the things to be carrying with you, is that really a priority? So just, I could talk about this, just this 3-minute trailer, I could talk about freaking ages and talk about the original game. Such a massive fan, but I really, really like the look of it. And I was trying to talk about in the thing that I recently bought a t-shirt, and it's got Mount Fuji on the back, and it's called the 3 Heavenly Mountains. And now I'm wondering if Mount Yōtei is one of the other 3 Heavenly Mountains. Again, I'll look into that, and I'll put a little thing on the screen if I'm right, because I like to be right. I like to test for my grey matter and see if it's spot on. Usually not, but I like to pretend. So what else is there to say, what I haven't already said, that's not going to make this video into a 20-minute, 30-minute ramble? I mean, the visuals, again, it still looks really good. I wouldn't say it looks much better than the last one. I mean, if I was to put like a side-by-side comparison, then I'm sure I'd see like improvements, but overall, I wouldn't say a massive improvement in like the straightforward visuals, but I imagine that we're really going to see more population of just like the elements blowing across the screen, the horses on screen. So I think we might not get better looking, but I think we'll get a more expansive amount of things on screen at a time without being overwhelming. So yeah. So I love the location. I love the weapons and the gun. So it's obviously more of a modern story. I'm absolutely fine with the new character. Part of me hopes that they're kind of like, it's called Ghost, and that they're going to kind of honour the legend of the Ghost from the first game, and that there's like talks of it like in Legend. But I'm like that there's a new story and a new character, and I just really can't wait to see where it goes. I could probably do a little bit of research, find out what kind of things were happening in Japanese history in the time that this was set, but I'm not going to. So we will do another trailer reaction close to when this is coming out. Well, basically whatever comes out next. But we're not going to do too many because I want to go into it clear-headed without too many spoilers. But as you can probably tell, I'm very, very excited for that one. I'm sure once I've finished recording it, I'll think of a dozen more things to talk about. So as I always said, if you guys would like me to do trailer breakdowns, a little bit more investigation, and a little bit more, maybe not so much scripted, because I don't like doing scripts because it feels very like, I don't like the way that it flows when I script things. But if you would like to see something, I think this will be a great one for me to delve into and pick apart and do a bit of research. So if you'd like to see that kind of stuff on the channel, do let me know, because I'd love to do it. Anyway, that's enough. Let me know what you guys think down below in those comments. You've already hit that like button, right? Because you're still here. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button, then subscribe. Come on, guys. And I'll see you all on the next episode, coming very soon. Bye.